Well, as you guys can see, there's a lot of fog today. So we're gonna go ahead and head to the Japanese Trail and see if we get the same foggy conditions over there, because I want to try to find some composition inside the forest of the trail. All right, as you saw me show you the fogging conditions that we have right now, we are gonna head to the Japanese Trail. And today, I'm going to challenge myself. I am going to try to take a picture in the forest or everything that I find on the Japanese Trail to photograph. I'm going to go ahead and take them handheld. And I'm going to be using a lot of ISO because there's a lot of shady areas inside this forest. And we're going to push the capabilities of the camera. Now, two things. One of them, I'm only bringing my 85 millimeter 1.4. Love that lens. It's very sharp, and I'm also bringing it for reach. And I am bringing the 15 to 30 millimeter Tamron lens, which is very heavy. But I find that if I try to blog with my 24 millimeter, 24 to 70, it's still not as heavy, but it's still heavy. And it doesn't give me as wide a reach. For example, this is at 30 millimeters, right? And then you can see how close it is. And part of that is because the camera, when I record in 4K, it crops a bit. But since I have the wide angle lens, check that out. And this is like maybe a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet away from the camera. Yes, there's the distortion, right, on the side. It's wider, bigger, whatever. But we can use that to our advantage sometimes. So I'm going to take this lens and I'm going to blog on it. I am hoping that the audio comes out good. I'll talk about it more once I get to the location. So let's go ahead and head on out there. The other thing, as we're heading out there, is I have the camera on a tripod. And I think if you see my blogs, you probably have seen the video where I went to the Japanese Trail and I show you my buckled up tripod with the camera on it. And you know, that's all I have for recording. I mean, I can bring my GoPro, you know, and I can probably put it up here off the window, but I want to push my R6 limits and I want to record on it and see what the advantages is of having my R6. So one of the things I do love about it, let's see. Yeah, let's go this way. One of the things I love about it is the crispiness of the picture. It looks very sharp as far as I can tell, and I just love the natural look that I get from it. I don't like my skies oversaturated. There is an option that I was so excited about when I first got this camera, and it's the HDR option. And I was so excited because, man, when I look at the picture on the display of the camera, wow, you know? And I find that it's not that good. I don't really like to shoot in HDR mode. I haven't shot it since that time that I went to the beach and got excited about it. So right now, as I'm driving over there, the ground is a bit shaky and the lens does move, but I have the image stabilizer on the camera itself and also on the lens. So I expect the shakiness or the movements on the video are going to be very, very minimal. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Settings for the camera, guys, I have it set to white balance at 0. So, you know, the brightness and darkness. As I go through some areas, I'm sure the camera is going to try to, right now it's focusing on one of my zits on my face. Listen, I'm almost 50. And I can't believe that I'm still getting zits on my face. That is ridiculous. That should not be happening. It's not right. I did my dues when I was young, and that's why I got all these little scars on the side of my chin, because I had a lot of zits, the big zits, when I was a teenager. And I guess wearing a helmet and playing football didn't help the issue either. And so, man, these people drive so crazy. Like, they don't know how to drive. How do they get the license? What in the world? Guys, oh my God, I'm sorry. People, learn how to drive. Man, see, I even lost my train of thought. Anyways, so the camera is pointing on my zit, but it should be pointing on my eye, just like it did right now. Is going back to my eye, and that's what I want. I want the camera to be doing that. Now, a big disclaimer: I am recording on the 15-30 Tamron, and believe me, this lens, it's so slow for focusing when it comes to like video. When I try to force focus, it just feels like it takes forever, and a lot of times it doesn't find the focus. So I am very curious and to see how the camera works with the 15-30, because honestly, and I said this on one of my blogs before, but you know, I don't have that many subscribers, so I guess most of the people that are going to watch these videos in the future are going to be new subscribers. But on one of my blogs, I talk about a wedding that I made in American Samoa. It was a very big wedding, and it was just me doing the photos. So it was a challenge, but it was so fun. I rarely had any chance to eat, just so you know, but I was able to chuck down some waters because I had to stay hydrated. Tightened up the tripod here. And so I had my 15-30, I had my 24-70, and I had my 70-200, all Tamron lens, and I only had back then my 5D Mark II and the M50. Well, I used the M50 with the flash indoors. Photos came out phenomenal. It was just amazing quality. I am so wow. Until this day, I'm still wow how well the M50 performed. It saved my back. The 5D Mark II, obviously, it did a great job. Even in low light, it was actually pretty good. But when I was recording video for a funeral, I put the 70-200 on the M50, and boom, you know, good speed, focusing, and all that stuff. The 24-70, same thing, and the 15-30 just kept hunting. I was so mad because I really needed a wider coverage in this video. So now I have the R6. Now I haven't used this lens. Jeez, I think since I've been to Samoa, and that was like a couple years ago. That's that's how disappointed I was with this lens, and I took one photograph, I mean, and it came good, but after that I didn't use it ever. So today, 2022. I am grabbing the 15-30 so I can blog on it, because I want a handheld blog as I walk down in the forest, which is one of the reasons why I think I wanted to park on the upper level of the entrance instead of the dog park entrance. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want to be carrying that heavy lens with me too much, especially, you know, because I don't know how my body's going to be reacting to the walk. I feel a lot better from breathing wise. You know, my chest feels a lot more open now, but we'll see how that works. Anyway, so 15-30 going to be a challenge. Photos are going to be handheld photos, and I'm going to have the tripod only so that I can record with the R6 while I'm taking photos in some spots. So I hope I don't make this video too long. We'll get over there. I'll probably just cut out a bunch of the BS that I've been talking about. But we'll get down there and we'll see what we can get. Yes, as you can see outside, it's still foggy over here. So I'm very hopeful that I'm going to find the conditions that I need at Japanese Trail. And honestly, this is the conditions that I wanted at the Big Four Mountain. It's never happened for me. I don't have snowshoes yet. I don't know if I want to go rent some or buy some. They're like $100 if you buy some, the cheap ones. And I might take the hike over there to Big Four Mountain, because the road is still closed and you have to hike on the snow. Anyways, that's a lot of information that I'm going to give you, but I'll probably leave that for another video after this one, okay? So let's get to the location, see what the forest looks like, take a few photos, and yeah, let's see what we can come up with. No trespassing. It's just me, so it's okay. Let's go. All right. Well, this is recording at, let's see, 15 millimeters on the lens, but remember that there is a crop when recording 4K. So the last time that I came here, I was recording with the 50 millimeters, and my face was like this close. It just sucked. Only difference today is I am not having the camera on the Gorilla tripod, and I don't have the light 50 millimeter lens. So it feels, without the Gorilla pod and the light lens, having the heavy 15 to 30 Tamron, it feels about the same. Same heaviness on my arms. So I had to keep switching. But at least you can see more. As I blog, you can see more of what, what's around me. And I think that's what I really wanted, or what I really want when I do blogs. Yes, the GoPro can, capture wider, range or whatnot, but I can't put my wireless microphone on it, and that's the biggest issue that I have with the GoPro. Otherwise, it'd be perfect. And yes, you can adapt a microphone to the GoPro, but it no longer is waterproof. So there goes that. At least with this camera, if it starts raining, I mean, it's weather seal, lens is weather seal, so I don't have to worry about it getting wet. But I will have to put away the wireless microphone. Ready? So those are the couple things that I can see having issues with equipment. So GoPro, no waterproof anymore if I put a microphone on it. And this one, I can't put the microphone on it, but it's so easy to, slide in my camera, take off and put on, so I'm okay with that. All right, enough rambling here. We are at the Japanese Trail, and yeah, there's still foggy conditions here. I'm hoping it's a little bit thicker above the water, just so I can get a picture out of it. And today, remember, all my photos are going to be handheld. I do have I don't know if you can see right there, I do have a tripod, so I can put my second camera and record the shots that I'm taking. Other than that, I'm shooting with the 15 to 30, and I brought my faithful 85 millimeter lens. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's go. Woo! All right, so you guys probably know this location if you have seen my videos from before. We are at the creek at the Japanese Trail, and one of my most favorite spots that I have found here. We are getting some foggy conditions towards the top of the creek, at least on the spot where I'm at right now, okay? And I'm gonna be shooting it with the 85 millimeter because I don't have my water boots today, as you can see, so I can't get in the water and get low enough. So I am gonna go ahead, and I'm so tempted to break my rules today, and I think I will for myself, but for this test, I am gonna go ahead and do some handheld shots. I already did a couple with 15 to 30, which is what I'm recording on right now. And I have the L bracket on my camera simply because I was gonna record with this one, but since I started recording with the 15 to 30, I figured might as well use that. At some point, I will probably switch it and record with the 85 millimeter at a 1.4 aperture. So honestly, conditions are beautiful. They're perfect. I hope the audio is coming out good for you guys. I'm having the nice big diffuser, natural diffuser from the sky, hitting the top of the rocks, hitting the water. It is causing a little bit of reflection, but I think I'm okay with it today. I didn't bring a filter or polarizer like that at all. So I want that white reflection to come up because the light is beautiful right now. And the foggy conditions make it to where it's not too bright, not too dark. I want to see, I'm very curious of what the results are going to be, but I have a feeling that they're going to be okay. So without further ado, let me go ahead and snap some shots here of the composition that I'm looking at, and hopefully this is of interest to you guys. All right, let's shoot it. All right, so I have my image stabilizer on the camera. The Samyang lens is an autofocus lens, but it doesn't have image stabilizer on. So I'm gonna try to do my best to get a nice sharp picture here. Now on the 85 millimeter, I don't know what the sharpest aperture would be, at least not yet, because I haven't shot landscape photography with it. That's not what it's for. But I'm going to shoot at different apertures and see which one becomes the sharpest from front to end. Now I'm about maybe 8 feet away from the closest rock here, but I'm going to be shooting from here and then a little bit farther down to see how the focus comes out on the pictures. Hopefully it comes out good. So far, as I'm looking at this rock, it looks focused, but a little bit too dark. The other thing, guys, it's we're going to be pushing ISO on this one big time. So right now I'm at 2500. To get to like one stop underexposed, it's 6400. I'm going to put my shutter speed down to 60, which is very slow for handheld shots, just so I can bring the ISO to 5000. Now guys, I forgot to bring my reading glasses, so the picture looks like it's a little bit blurry. I'm assuming because it's been shaking on my hand and the slow shutter. So I might have to cheat and use my tripod just because I want a really good photo of this beautiful lighting that I'm getting on here. I like the brightness that's coming up from the top of the rocks and the water. So yeah, I'm going to take a couple shots just for me. But for this challenge, I'm going to keep taking photos handheld and see how they come out. All right, guys. Well, I went ahead and snapped some photos over here. And they look great to me, at least on the camera. Some of the tips that I will tell you guys to play with on the camera is the bottom right button on the camera to preview your focus field. So if you're focusing on a subject, right, and you want to see what's actually focused depending on the aperture that you use, you push that button and the camera will show you a preview of everything that is focused. Now you can use that, or you can just go ahead and, you know, play the photo, you know, zoom into it and see what's focused and what's not. I find that if you preview the photos, it helps cut a little bit of time. Not that you really care when you're doing landscape photography. I mean, you got all the time in the world to view and review photos, but it's a nice technique to use. So especially if you're like a beginner and you're trying to get better at having things focused the way you want them to be, the focus preview button actually it's a big help, because you can look through the viewfinder and you can change the aperture, and then you can, you know, keep pushing the focus preview button, and you're going to see how the focus changes throughout your image depending on where you're focusing on. So for example, when you're taking a photo, mostly for landscape photographers, right, a lot of guys, they focus on the bottom third of the frame. Some focus on the top third of the frame, or the farthest object from where your camera is at, and that's how they get that focus to be from the front all the way to the end, depending on the aperture, depending on the lens, depending on the camera. everything is different for, all systems. So having the preview focus button is going to be a big help to you guys. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's something that you might want to do. Again, guys, I recommend get out there, play with your camera, change the settings, play with the distance, and yeah, good luck with all that stuff. I'm telling you, I have a lot of fun doing photography. I love it. There's so many things you can do with it. There's things to where like you can see the big picture, and then you can get into really close stuff and see the little picture that we most of the time miss because we're never paying attention to our surroundings. So with photography, you go take a picture of moss, right, on the rock. When on my last vlog, I was still feeling kind of woozy from, for the whole COVID, from the coronavirus, that I forgot that the name for the moss on the rocks is moss. And I didn't know if it was moss or mulch. But you know what? When your mind is clear, you remember things better. So the moss on the rocks looks good. If you get close to it, they have a different look to it. If you go to the, to the dry leaves or branches without leaves that have water droplets and things like that, I think those are very interesting and they're very beautiful to look at. So yeah, just get out there with the camera, guys. Play it around, have fun. If you guys been watching this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to mix up a little different, narratings that I've been doing throughout this video because some of them are repetitive, but I'm going to edit on video so that you guys get good information. I'm horrible. My ADHD makes me think of 1,000 things at the same time, and that sometimes stops me from focusing on certain specific something. But the one thing that it does do is that it helps me enjoy what I'm passionate about. And there's a lot of things that I'm passionate short period of time and things that are long term. So for example, my family, long term. Drinking, very short term. I can care less about drinking. But photography, long term. Video, long term. Why? Because those things, you create different things every single time. Anyways, enough ADHD talk because I'm never going to be able to stop talking about it. Guys, till next time, thank you so much for watching. You all be blessed. Peace.